Okay, we are now broadcasting live. Usually I have one of my kids sitting in this chair, and if I have the camera faced a certain way, one day my daughter, she didn't say anything. She was sitting there, and she was on the camera with me, and I didn't realize it. She put her sunglasses on, and through the entire service, which I don't usually go back and rewatch them myself, but she sat there just like, she didn't do anything. And so my son, who's going to be 17 years old tomorrow, he does the opposite. He'll sit there and he'll be like, or he can roll both of his eyebrows. So he'll just do,
At the same time or separately?
No, he can do separately, like a roll, like that. Yeah, that's crazy. I can only just do one. That's all I can do.
Can you wiggle your eyeballs?
No.
I used to be able to do it. I haven't tried
I can
it
look
for
back
years.
and forth. I can make a circle.
I used to be able to wiggle.
This is how I wiggle I can just wiggle my whole head.
That's my great talent in the past.
No, she has migraine headache.
Lauren!
Lauren's back there checking out the cookies.
He's checking out the cookies. He is. He's eating them already.
Who's that, Lauren?
Yes.
Speak back there.
Please come in. Okay. The heat we turned the heat up again. Marianne's back there, okay. But I did just turn the heater on. Because of the positioning of this table, it like comes out in like waves of heat. If you guys start getting hot, I can just ask Doris, you could just, or maybe Carol, you could reach it easier, but there's just an off switch. The
It won't
last
bother
one.
me.
Yeah, if you want to lift up the fabric again, it kind of slid down. And then maybe if you get too hot, just put the fabric down again. Okay.
Almost got some divorce.
Hi, Marianne.
Hello. Hi, Karen.
All right. We have some new friends here today. Gina and Darcy.
Welcome.
Yes. And I know some of you were here at the very beginning when we had our friend Karen was here, and she had the baby. Do you remember? Yes, okay. Karen referred them.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yes. Well, I do have some wonderful news for you today. Wonderful. Oh, and Luella's right. You're sitting here and just kind of leaning back. We have our new friend Luella, although she's our old friend. We've known her from, previous years, and she came and paid a visit to us today. So we're very happy to have
And
her
hopefully
here.
coming
Yes.
back.
Yes. We
What can
hope.
she cook?
Oh, yes.
Okay, but I do have some wonderful, exciting, amazing, fantastic news I want to share with you. Do you know that the same power and presence that put the galaxies into their spin, the same force that inspires the acorn to grow into an oak tree, that same force works within every one of us. So within us, we have the power to transform hatred into love and judgment into compassion. And so with that, we will sing. I just love how you're giggling. I love that. We will sing our theme song. You might know this already. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. All right, and Susan will do our daily word.
Our daily word for today is perspective. I see God everywhere. Today I view a life from a divine perspective, beholding the divine in all people and circumstances. I know at a deep level that all is well, that we are supported in every way, and that we are forever one with Spirit. This view of life is not reserved for carefree days when life is peaceful and easy. In any situation, at any time, I can see through chaos and confusion to the truth that all is in divine order and all is well. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I am one with God. As I view life from this perspective, I see how God reveals itself in every living thing, and I'm inspired to express the divine in my every thought, word, and action. From Matthew 13:16, blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. I'll say our affirmation again, and then if you'd like to join me in repeating it. I see God everywhere.
I see God everywhere. Awesome. You know, when I brought up that quote one time about how we're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and I said I couldn't remember who that quote was from, or I just had no idea. Well, like the next day, you sent me the message on Facebook that it's like a Pierre de something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So,
it does
but-
have a attributed author.
Yeah, it does. But you know what's so funny is I recently signed up for Facebook Messenger on my phone, right? And I got, it'll give you a bubble with a person's face on it, that there's a message from them, and I got that message from you. That you're like, here, Deanna, here's the person who quoted that. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. So that was awesome.
You needed to know that.
I needed that reminder. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, a human adventure.
And for our announcements, I think the only one we have is our birthday and potluck is next week, right?
Yes, yes, our birthday potluck is next week.
And birthdays I have on the list are Marianne and Deanna's son, Adam, and Carol. We haven't seen Carol in a while. Any others? Oh, I have you on the
Shane.
list. Shane, what day?
It's exactly the same day.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my birthday.
I don't know how to list you. Put you on the list too.
Yes.
So we'll be celebrating 4 birthdays.
Yes, wonderful,
Okay.
wonderful. Okay, so we'll have a potluck, and we'll just, yeah, let's have food.
Okay.
Let's have food. Okay. And I am also going to be holding a class at my house next Saturday, and it's just clearing limited beliefs. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, I can give you my website, or I can get your email and send you the information. Okay? Yes?
I'm going to facilitate a small chronic pain group on Mondays at 10. So, it's
Oh,
open for new people with the small groups.
okay.
What kind of pain?
Chronic pain,
Chronic
chronic pain, we discuss chronic pain.
Oh, interesting. So 10 in the mornings on Mondays. Where are you going to have it?
At home.
Okay.
It's a small home,
Oh,
that's
okay.
why it's not real big group of people, but
Okay, gotcha.
real welcome.
Okay, so anybody who's interested can talk to you after the service today. Okay, wonderful. Well, my talk today is on the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge would be knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing to not put it in a fruit salad. That's what I was just searching on knowledge and wisdom. See, when I was younger, I thought knowledge and wisdom were the same thing, right? It's just knowing a bunch of stuff, right? And that you became wise the more you knew, right? But I didn't separate them. But what I found out is that knowledge is actually a linear form of, it's fact-finding, it's getting data. Hi, Jeanette. And so knowledge is something that we can accumulate facts and figures. We can memorize the periodic table of the elements, right? But that doesn't make us a scientist. It doesn't make us Albert Einstein or Walter White. Okay. Now, wisdom comes with experience because it's practice that makes the master. I don't know if anybody here in this room learned the way I did, but when my mom taught me that don't touch a pan cooking on the stove, it's hot, I took the knowledge in, right? The intellectual data, the facts, because she told me the fire heated up the pan, don't touch it, it'll be hot. But I didn't learn anything from gathering that knowledge. I learned when I touched the pan and I burned my finger. I gained experience and wisdom at a very young age to not touch the pan again. Okay, so there's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is not a practice. Wisdom is a practice. In the book of Proverbs, wisdom was believed to be the feminine face of God, and wisdom was sometimes called Sophia. Even Jesus referred to wisdom as a she in the New Testament. Now, wisdom and understanding are terms that have been used interchangeably. Okay, understanding something is different than just having knowledge about it, just having all the facts and figures. I can look at that periodic table of the elements I do not understand a thing I'm looking at. Not a thing. There's no understanding. Okay, there's no comprehension there. Understanding and wisdom always have to do with the heart. Understanding and wisdom are revelations that happen through our heart. A revelation is something that is revealed to us. Okay, it's there. It's an aha moment. So we've all felt an aha moment before, right? That is getting suddenly the revelation of it, right? So it's revealed to us. So now this is where we're holding it. We're holding it in our heart. And remember, thousands of years ago, it was believed that the heart was the center of us that did all the thinking. And now we know that the heart is not the brain and the heart is not the mind, but the heart does have its own intelligence. Okay, so that's where the understanding and the wisdom and the awareness all take place right here, because we have to feel it. The knowledge, we sense it, we can know it, but we feel the awareness and the understanding. Now, when we come from an understanding heart, we're coming from a place of wisdom, then our will is aligned with divine will. Divine will is that will that always just has our best good in mind. Divine will is never, well, you're going to give up all your stuff and you're going to go travel and talk about me. That's not divine will. You're going to suffer and you're going to do this, right? Divine will is just us letting spirit or letting the universe work through us so we live the brightest version of our life possible, however that happens to look. So we have knowledge, that's fact gathering, data gathering, and then we have wisdom, which is putting all of that into practice until we get that aha moment. Now, as we're seeking to grow spiritually and to align ourselves with divine will, this is something that we do. We're working to gain wisdom, but we have to do this in steps. And Jesus taught in steps. He realized that his disciples could not just suddenly receive all this cosmic awareness and understanding and just be like, oh yes, I have the Christ essence in me. He knew that that was impossible for them. So he taught first by giving them facts and data. He let them watch him perform miracles. And then he told them, you can do this too, because you have the spirit of the universe working through you. You have God within you. You have an indwelling spirit of God. God is not outside of you. God is inside of you. All the things that I do, you'll do also. Okay, so he kept repeating this to them, and then he told them parables, because the parables would not scare them. Okay, sometimes when we're given a piece of spiritual information, we want to run the other way because it sounds crazy. I remember trying to force spiritual awareness on somebody, and I actually noticed they were backing away from me. It was really funny. Like, Deanna's crazy. That's weird what she's saying. I don't get it, right? Well, that's why Jesus taught in parables. He wanted to have people think and be inspired so they could be open to receiving that understanding, okay, receiving the understanding in their heart. In John 16:12, Jesus actually said to them, I have many other things to tell you, but you cannot grasp them now. That is why he told them that they would receive the Spirit of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was their comforter, their communicator, the bringer of light. And the Holy Spirit would work through them to reveal to each of them the depth of God, so that we would learn the spirit of truth. We would have that awareness and the understanding, rather than just looking at a law and trying to follow that law without any understanding. St. Paul said in the book of 1 Corinthians that when we choose to come from love, which is way different than coming from fear, when we choose to come from love, the Spirit of God is revealed to us through a revelation. So it is having that aha moment and feeling that. And then we receive understanding of the gifts that God gave us. Okay, those gifts that were put inside of us to express out into the world. That it's up to us to do it. It's up to us to spread that light. It's up to us to be a luminary for others, right? To remind them that the indwelling Spirit of God is in them also, not just in special people, right? Like Mother Teresa or Gandhi or Don Miguel Ruiz, right? The Spirit of God is in every person. So the term born again, That's actually what it's talking about. Born again in its language is to change your way of thinking. So when we're reborn in spirit, it is to receive awareness. Okay, that's what being born again is. It's allowing ourselves to receive that revelation from the indwelling Spirit of God, that we are an unlimited being in a body, to have that awareness. I am an unlimited being in a body. Recently, I had somebody send me an article about a group of people that are sharing kind of a hateful message. And when my friend was just sharing this with me, this wasn't his point of view at all, but the people, when they were accused, because they're from a very strict religious background, when they were told they were being judgmental, they were like, oh, well, we don't hate the person, we hate the behavior. Okay, we love the person, we hate the behavior. And I just have to say, this go-to statement for whatever, I think is just, well, I won't talk about what I think of it. Because really, you know what? I don't want to focus on that. I don't want to focus on seeing the separation. If we love the person, but we hate the behavior, we don't love that person because we're focusing something on hate. We're focusing hate on something. Which means, if we hate a behavior, we're not seeing God as everywhere present. If somebody's behaving a certain way and we can't see that that's still divinity working through them, they're just misusing their power, right? We're hating God. Okay, we're hating love. We're hating the Spirit that works through us all. We're seeing separation. Okay? So I love the person, I hate the behavior. That's just us having no awareness, no understanding that God is everywhere present. To say I love the person and I hate the behavior is to limit God. Because that means God's not in the behavior, right? God has just been limited. Which then, what kind of God is that, right? That's Zeus, okay? That's a Greek god that can be killed. Think of the stories in mythology of the gods that have been killed, okay? They're limited. They're not the unlimited force of love that is present in every single person.
But you do have some behavior you don't agree with, and then you do have.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you're saying the key word is hate.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Because no matter what somebody's doing, they have an indwelling Spirit of God. If they're doing a behavior that hurts somebody else, they're misusing that Spirit, right? They're not seeing God as present in themselves. They're not seeing that they are made from love, that they are unlimited being in a body. And so only somebody who's hurting can share a hurtful behavior. Okay? And so I might say, if somebody ran over an animal, I would say, oh, that was awful that happened. But God is still present in every situation. Okay, that indwelling Spirit of love that works through us is still present in every situation. I don't have to prove that somebody stole a car. Okay, but why would they do something like that? Because they have a belief of lack and limitation inside of them if they stole a car, which means they don't buy into the fact that they're an unlimited being in a body, and they don't see how God works through them. And we can see how God works through all people, even when they steal cars or they do something. We are seeing God in them, and we may be the only person that sees God in them, no matter what they've done. We can still recognize that the Spirit of love works through them. They just don't see it. They just don't have awareness of it yet. That's all. They don't have the awareness. We want to be able to see that for ourselves, no matter what other people are doing, because if we're judging, if we're criticizing, if we're hating something, we're limiting the force that works through us just as much as they are with their car stealing behavior, right? We limit that behavior too. Well, this is all about us. Our spiritual growth and receiving wisdom and understanding is all about us and what we're willing to do. So we make the choice to see God as everywhere present. We open ourselves up to receive the awareness, that understanding, that wisdom, so that we can make choices for our brightest good much easier than if we're just struggling through all this. Okay, so that awareness allows us to choose from love so much easier than when we're struggling with something and we're seeing God as working limited through us. It's so much easier to choose from fear. And when we're choosing from fear, we're never making the best decisions for ourselves. We're never choosing to live our brightest life. Instead, we're choosing limitation. We're choosing to be limited. That all keeps us from having an understanding heart, and it will keep us from just expressing that pure love that wants to work through us. So we just want to choose love. Now, there's an idea called denial and affirmation, and this was made real popular in New Thought years and years ago. But denial, I first thought, oh, denial, I don't want to deny stuff, right? That, you know what they say, if you go into a state of denial, you're fooling yourself, right? But what denial and affirmation are is to look at somebody who steals a car and say, well, they have limited thinking. That's not an attribute of God. That's a human attribute, right? Having to do with this human experience of limitation. So we deny that. Illness. Illness is another one, okay, to deny illness. Okay, we're not saying, and I used to think this when I got into holistic healing, I'm not sick, I'm perfectly well, I'm healing all the time, blah, 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 right? That's what I thought denial was. But that's not denial. Well, that is denial, but it's not the higher form of denial, which is to say, the sickness is happening in my physical body, but I'm not my physical body. I am using this physical body as a vehicle for me to have an experience on this planet. Okay? The issue is not who I am. It's an experience that I'm having in this earthly life, but it is not who I am. Who I am is an unlimited being in a body. Who I am is an idea in the mind of God using this as a vehicle. And so there's the denial and then the affirmation. Okay, the denial. This is not who I am at my core as the light and the love that I am and that I am made from. Okay, I am an unlimited being in a body. That's the affirmation. We are the light, life, truth, and love because we are like what we come from. We come from God, which is light, life, truth, and love. So we are the same thing because we come from God. We can only be what we're like, or we can only be like what we come from. You don't plant a sunflower seed and get a rose because the sunflower seed is from a sunflower. So it's going to be a sunflower. And that's how we are. One of my friends said to me recently, well, she didn't say it to me, I just heard her say this. What do you do when you've tried everything and you have nothing else and you just keep feeling worse and worse? Okay, she really has been trying. She's been trying to deal with a pretty extreme physical illness, but she's losing hope. And so I thought about this because I heard all kinds of different, it was on Facebook, right? There are all kinds of different answers, right? Keep praying, watch a movie, get a massage. I mean, there's all kinds of things, most of them designed to get her just to stop, to take her out of the moment, right? To distract her. But really, that's a very easy question to answer. It is just not a very easy thing to do, and that is to choose how God works through us. Okay, choose to remember how God works through us and affirm to ourselves, we are an unlimited being in a body. No matter what my experience is right now, no matter what I'm going through right now, I'm still an unlimited being in a body. We have to make the choice to see the divinity in other people, to see the divinity in other situations. And that's not always easy. It can be really frustrating if we've been in difficult circumstances to still choose to see divinity in that, right? That can be very frustrating. But the pain, the difficulty, that's not who we are. And even if we just start with that, this is a limiting situation. It's part of the human experience, but it has nothing to do with who I really am at my core. I'm still light, life, truth, and love. We are still light, life, truth, and love, no matter what is happening, what is going on. It's light that we are. I had a friend a few years ago, many years ago, and when she first met me, it was because she had read some things I had written. And so she thought I was this like super spiritual guru, right? And so after she knew me for like 5 minutes, she saw that wasn't the case. Okay, I'm a work in process, right? We all are. And it's totally awesome to be that work in process. But see, first of all, she made the judgment that I was a spiritual master. And then she saw that I had some things that weren't working in my life, and they hurt me. And so I was in a state of suffering. But then I moved out of suffering into really focusing on seeing God present in the situation. I started rebuilding, and then I was happy, things were going smooth again. Then something else happened, right? And she's like, if you cannot even get it together, you're attracting all these negative things to you, right? And I was like, well, maybe I am, I don't know. But you know what? I'm learning a lot. And I'm learning how to move out of the state of suffering and blaming. And I'm learning how to change myself. And I'm learning how to grow anyway. So it's not about us getting it together and staying there, right? Wisdom comes from experience, right? And I've had people come to me because I have talked about the difficult things that I've been through. And I had one gal in particular who had learned she had learned Reiki healing, but her teacher had never had anything bad happen to her in her life, and she didn't understand the concept of negative energy. She was just like, oh, just let it go, just let it go. And my friend was like, but I have a lot of pain in here, and yet she can't understand, she can't relate to me. Okay? We become wonderful teachers when we've learned something about our own pain. We have something to share when we have learned something about what has hurt us. And we made the choice to recover anyway. Okay, that's what gaining wisdom and compassion and understanding are about. It is about having something difficult happen to us and choosing to choose from love anyway. Because we could choose from fear. And I have spent hours blaming, right? Saying this all happened because of such and such. And if only such and such wasn't happening in the world, if only it wasn't a Monday, if only if it was Tuesday, right? This wouldn't happen, that darn calendar I'm going to blame, right? When we're blaming something outside of ourselves, we can't grow, we cannot receive wisdom. We cannot receive understanding. We cannot receive compassion when we're shooting blame out there. So we choose love anyway, because we are an idea in the mind of God. God is love. God is light. Now, if we're created, we're that expression, we're also that love and light. That is exactly what we are. We are made from something that can get through any difficulty. We are made from something that can help us overcome any obstacle. But it's wisdom that teaches us how to move through those obstacles. It's choosing from love that teaches us how to move through obstacles. It's choosing from love that helps us get around those brick walls. It's always choosing from love. Any difficulty. When we're choosing from love, we're making the choice to align ourselves with divine will. And so we choose from love, no matter what experience we're having, we've just made the choice to move toward the next grandest version of ourselves. And when we let the universe start working through us, the universe always wants to exceed our expectations. Always, every single time. Now in the Bible, St. John said, the light is what came into this world. The light is what created this world. And he uses the term light. And then he says the light, put the light into every single person. Okay? Light's not separate. We can take 2 candles, but the light is joined, isn't it? It's still one big light. Now we can take it into 2 different rooms, and it seems like then it has the appearance of individuality, right? Well, that's what we are. Okay, we're the candle that's walked into another room. I'm sorry, somebody actually called me. But we are that light. Okay, so it can seem like we're separate, but we're still always connected to what it was that made us. And the light is always expressing itself through us. And by choosing from love, we gain the wisdom, we gain the understanding to make that light work for our highest and brightest good. Okay, instead of staying stuck someplace, right? The same light that was in Mother Teresa is in us. Okay? But Hitler also had that light in him. He just misused it. Okay? He desecrated that beautiful light. Okay? He was not choosing from love. He was choosing from fear. Now, the light's greatest desire, its one and only desire, is to express through us and have the experience of working through us. But it's understanding and wisdom that allow us to use that light to create heaven on earth. So it's completely possible right now to create heaven on earth when we choose from love. We can do that right now. We don't have to change anything out there. We're creating it through here, through our heart, to just instantly have the experience and the awareness. It's understanding and wisdom that free us because they fill us with the spirit of truth. And what does the truth do, right? It sets us free. Now, King Solomon, who was considered one of the wisest men that ever lived, there's a story about him in The Understanding Heart. And this is one of my favorite stories, and it's one I tell the most of all the stories I tell. But King Solomon, when he was just starting off, he was already proving that he was a great king. And so God came to him and said, well, I'm going to give you anything you want. So he thought about it. Solomon thought about it. He could have chosen power. He could have chosen wealth. He could have chosen a long, healthy life. But instead, he decided, by aligning himself with divine will, to ask for the understanding heart, to ask for a heart that is filled with wisdom, so he could be the best king ever. Because that was what he was there for at that point in time. He was there to be a good king. He was there to serve his people. Now we know, just because somebody is a king doesn't mean that they're not self-serving, right? There are some kings out there who don't have a very good reputation, right? Beheaded all their wives, right? But King Solomon wasn't like that. He was there to serve the people. So he chose an understanding heart. God gave him the understanding heart, but because of his choice, with the understanding heart came prosperity and power and a long life. Okay, because he chose wisdom. He wrote something, and he wrote a bunch of songs, right? And this is an ode. It's the 34th ode. And King Solomon says this: "No way is hard where there is a simple heart, nor is there any wound where the thoughts are upright. Nor is there any storm in the depth of the illuminated thought. Where one is surrounded on every side by beauty, there is nothing that is divided. The likeness of what is below is that which is above, for everything is from above. What is below is nothing but the imagination of those that are without understanding." Now this is a beautiful, beautiful passage, and I read it probably a dozen times when I first found it. But the way is hard. No way is hard where there is a simple heart. A simple heart is simply choosing from love. A simple heart is just seeing God in every person and in every situation. Okay, that's what's the simple thing for us to do, to choose to see God. Choosing drama and then having to figure out how to judge everything and separate it out. Okay, well, this is bad, but this is worse. And well, that's just awful. This is, well, only annoying. Okay, that's not simplicity, right? That's not simplicity. That becomes very hard, actually. When we're trying to do that, I don't know if anybody here's ever been a drama queen, but I have in my past, and sometimes I still am. Being a drama queen is a lot of work. Okay, there's a lot of judgment when I'm trying to be a drama queen. And so many things I have to criticize and choose all these things that are worse than me because I'm right, right? I'm right and everything is wrong. Nor is there any wound where the thoughts are upright. That's just having our thoughts being aligned with spirit again. Okay, we're choosing from love. Now, we can have pain, but there's no suffering. We can choose to let go of suffering, right? When our thoughts are aligned with our higher will. We still may have an experience. I mean, if somebody, like if Luella reached over here and dropped a brick on my foot, I'd be like, ow, my foot hurts, right? But that's not suffering. That's just recognizing my physical body received pain, okay? When we align our thoughts with God, it doesn't mean there's not going to be physical pain with us, right? But when we align our thoughts with God, when our thoughts are upright, we release the suffering. And the suffering is what keeps us stuck and limited. Nor is there any storm in the depth of the illuminated thought. Okay, the illuminated thought, when we're aligned with God's will, we don't buy into all the drama, and often we don't even see the drama. I've been with people who are just so centered and balanced, and they don't see the dramas that I see. They just see a beautiful world. I'm just like, what does this person have? They're not, it's the illuminated thought, okay? They're not seeing the storm. Where one is surrounded on every side by beauty, there is nothing that is divided. We see beauty everywhere by seeing God everywhere. So we don't have to separate. Instead, when we're choosing to see God everywhere, we're united. We're not divided. The likeness of what is below is that which is above. Above is the realm of God. It's the realm of the divine mind. And that energy is always expressing through us. However God works in our life, God has to work through us to work for us. When we're aligned with God's will, what's coming through is for our brightest good. When we're coming from a space of fear, what's coming through is creating a fearful reality for us. And so what is above is below. It is expressing here on this earth. It's expressing through us. But how is it expressing? That's up to us. That is up to us. For everything is from above. What is below is nothing but the imagination of those that are without understanding. If we're creating a fear-based world because we're creating from fear, that's still God working through us. But we don't have understanding. So we're not seeing God as everywhere present, and we're not able to choose to come from love when we don't have understanding. We're choosing from fear. So choosing from love is what allows us to have that understanding. Intellectual knowledge can be bought and sold, but intellectual knowledge does not transform us. Intellectual knowledge even changes all the time. I remember when I was going to college, you know how in college textbooks are so super expensive, right? So I always try to buy a used textbook whenever I could. Well, I had an astronomy class. It was like my most expensive textbook that semester. I couldn't buy a used one because they updated the astronomy book every 2 years because information changed so fast. Knowledge and facts about astronomy changed that quickly. And now, of course, with all this technology we have, it's changing even faster. I bet an astronomy student now probably has to buy 2 books a semester. I don't know. But see, knowledge is not transformational. Knowledge does not reveal the aha moment to us. Okay? Only wisdom can transform us. Wisdom happens in our core. Knowledge happens in our mind and in our brain. From the Tao of Pooh, it says, and the Tao of Pooh is like one of my favorite books ever. I love this book so much. But it says, from caring comes wisdom. Those who have no compassion have no wisdom. Knowledge, yes. Cleverness, maybe. Wisdom, no. A clever mind is not a heart. Knowledge doesn't care. Wisdom does. Wisdom does care because it's from compassion that we gain wisdom and understanding. Compassion is what starts us. When we feel like we don't really have wisdom, by choosing from love, we are choosing compassion. And it's choosing from love and having the experience of compassion work through us that opens us up to be able to receive wisdom, to be able to receive her into our hearts. And wisdom allows us to share that through how we live our lives. Okay, remember, we cannot force spiritual understanding on another person, right? They have to have their own insight. They have to be able to receive their own revelation. Well, it's easier for them to receive from us when we're living it, when we're being a luminary, okay, instead of talking about it all the time, right? There are a lot of people who talk about it all the time. But we have to each have our own revelation. When we allow wisdom and understanding to work through us, we allow other people then to start that process for themselves. To decide choosing from love seems to look like it makes an easier life than choosing from fear, right? They can see how that works through each of us. One of my favorite quotes is, "Our lives are governed by the truth, whether we believe it or not. However, our experience of life is governed by our beliefs, whether they are true or not." I watched a movie the other day that was a remake of a movie from 30 years ago. I won't tell you what it is because I don't want to give a spoiler, right? And ruin the movie for you. But in the original movie, there was a villain. And he was bad, like really bad. In this movie, it wasn't a complete remake of it, but it had the same villain. Only he wasn't so bad. And so I had this belief, right? I had a belief that made me see him in a good, positive way. But then in the end, he turned out to be horribly evil, right? Very evil, okay? And my belief changed then. My experience of him changed. And that's just a movie, but we do it in life all the time, okay? We have an idea, we maybe see something in a certain way, but somebody else won't see it in the same way. And we don't understand. How do we have two different perceptions when we know we're right? You know, our lives are governed by the truth, whether we believe it or not. And the truth is that God is present in every single thing. God is present in every person. God is present in every situation, even the horrible, sticky, crunchy situations. God is there. God is everywhere present. Our experience of life is governed by our beliefs, whether they are true or not. We see separation, and that's our experience, that we're separated. But it's not a spiritual truth. The spiritual truth is that we're all an idea in the mind of God. We're all connected by that light. And we cannot be separated from each other. What we do to one person, we do to another person, and we do to ourselves. Because we are all connected, every single one of us. It's only our wisdom, and it's only having understanding that allow us to create heaven on earth. We attain that wisdom by practicing love, by practicing choosing from love. Because choosing from love helps us to see God present everywhere. Okay, so we just choose from love. Choose from love, life starts looking better and better all the time. So until next time, remember that you are a divine force for good. You are a light and you light the way. With every beat of your heart, with every breath you take, you are radiating light and love out into the world around you. In all things that you do, you are blessed. And so it is. Amen. Susan is going to pass our prayer box up here. Just hand it on down. We're going to send some love. We're going to send some love into this box. That is what we are. What we are. So everybody just take a deep breath. And just feel at your heart center, beautiful golden ball of light. And just imagine that this ball of light expresses and expands so it's even bigger than you are, even bigger than the room that you are in. We feel how that light works through us. And we allow ourselves to be open to receiving awareness that we are that light. We are that light. When we think about the prayers and the requests that are in this prayer box right now, and we remember that wherever this request comes from, it's coming from someone who is an unlimited being in a body, but maybe they've forgotten. Maybe they just need some support and love right now in this moment so they can remember who they really are. We see every request is already being taken care of. Every person is whole and healed. And we think about any of our own worries or our own concerns, and we put those into the light also. We know in the realm of divine mind, everything is whole, every problem is solved. So we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Okay, well, I guess now sing our song, get into our circle, right? Thank you.